Hi, I'm going to show you how to make bún riêu cua chả cá. It's crab noodle soup with fish cake. There's so many ways of making bún riêu, but this is one way that I usually make it. I will show you this way first. All the ingredients is listed below the video. I have written down step by step of instructions how to make it in stages, so it's easy for you to understand. When I cook it all in one go, but I try to make it into sections so it makes it easier for you to cook it in stages. For the crab balls and the rieu cua, you're going to need a whole crab. You're going to need one small crab brown, crab white, minced pork, a tin of rieu cua, some prawns, 4 eggs. You're going to need pork bones. I'm using 4 spare ribs chopped up and some pork bones, 2 large tomatoes, 4 large carrots. If you're using small tomato, you need about 4 to 6 tomatoes, a tin of plum tomato. You're going to need shrimp paste. Hộp đều. This will help give you the bún riêu color. You're gonna need fish sauce. Here I got a whole onion. I sliced it in half. The other half I sliced it up. That's for caramelizing later. I'm gonna use 2 little shallots. You don't need it, but it tastes better. I'm using 10 grams of rock sugar. I got 9 tofu here cut in half, 3 slices of ginger and 5 crushed garlic. I minced it up. For garnishing, you need ramon and bắp chuối. I don't have any of that, it's banana flour. So I live really far away from a Vietnamese supermarket, so I'm using what I'm getting from the English supermarket. So I've got spring onion, coriander, bean sprouts, some chili, some red onion, some lime. It's just a bit of to garnish. So here I've got salt, MSG, sugar and chicken powder. You got fish sauce, your shrimp paste. I will show you how to do it later. Right now we're going to marinate the crab ball. So add your 2 eggs. Whisk it up. Add your minced pork. I have 250 grams of minced pork. That's about half a tub of minced pork. The other half you can use for chả cá later if you want, but I like chicken in my chả cá, so I'm using chicken. I add half a tub of minced prawn here. It's 100 grams minced prawn. You can use the other half of minced prawn for chả cá as well. So a whole crab that I got from the market. This is just crab white. Mix it all up until it's even. I put half a tin of rieu cua in. You can buy this from a Chinese supermarket. A tin of rieu cua or a tin of rieu dom. Just give it a mix. We're gonna add just nearly a spoon of salt. It's a teaspoon, yeah. Just under a teaspoon of MSG. 1/3 teaspoon of sugar. And we're going to add over half a teaspoon of chicken powder. All the ingredients are listed on the side of the video also for you to print screen. You can add pepper if you like. If you don't have kids eating it, you can add pepper. You can make your meatball spicy, it's up to you. You can put chili flakes or chili powder. So we're going to marinate this and leave it in the fridge to when we need it. So it should be in the fridge for about a good half an hour. So we're going to make the fish cake now. So for the fish cake, I minced up half a chicken fillet, 100 grams of prawns. This is half a box of prawns I had from the other prawns. Pack of gasak, the featherback fish cake. I add half a pack of fish in there. You can buy fish fresh and do it yourself, but I buy it ready-made from Chinese supermarket. So I'm going to add in 2 shallots crushed. The more shallots, the better. It kills the smell. So just over half a teaspoon of chicken powder, half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of MSG, and a little bit of sugar, 1/3 teaspoon of sugar. Give it a good mix. You can add pepper. I would add about 2 drops of fish sauce to give it that fishy taste in the fish cake. But right now we're going to add potato starch flour. We need a teaspoon of potato starch flour. This will make your fish cake chewy. Give you that chewy texture. I was finding trouble to put it into the bowl. Couldn't open the packet. My hand was so dirty. Just make sure you mix it all together really well so it blends in. You see how I've got minced pork spare over there on the left hand side? You can use that instead of using your chicken in the jagar in your fish cake, sorry. But I like chicken in my fish cake, so I didn't use that minced pork. But ideally, instead of you going to buy a fillet chicken, you can just use your leftover minced pork. I just feel like there's too many pork in the dish because you got your spare ribs already, and then you got your meatballs, and then now you have your fish balls, and it's all pork. So I thought I'd put some chicken instead. So we're gonna make our Rieu now, the crab brown. You're gonna need 2 eggs and your crab brown. You're gonna need your Rieu as well. This will give it the orangey color. So whisk up 2 eggs. Add all the crab brown in. All the meat that we've just marinated, just pop it all into the fridge. So you got 3 sections of meat to put in the fridge. So add a tablespoon of Rieu in, give it a good mix. We're gonna flavor it, just a hint of everything, a bit of salt. I say 1/3 of a teaspoon. 1/3 of MSG, 1/3 of salt, and a tiny bit of sugar. The sugar always has to be less than all of them. Just give it a whisk. Make sure it's all even, and then we're gonna pop this into the fridge. So right now you've got your fish cake in the fridge, your pork balls in the fridge, and your Rieu in the fridge, your crab brown. We're gonna get the shrimp paste out. You don't have to add this. I only put 1 teaspoon of it. Some people will add more to give it more flavor. You can add 2 teaspoons if you like the shrimp paste. I'm just worried that my kids don't like it, so I'm just gonna put 1. I mixed it with hot water. We're gonna leave it here until when we need it. So we're gonna wash out our pork now. We're going to cook this on boil for about 10 minutes just to clean out all the impurity. Put a teaspoon of salt in there. This will help kill all the germs. So after 10 minutes, we're going to rinse it out underneath cold water. Make sure you clean it really clean underneath cold water. This is how dirty it is. You don't want all that in your broth. So let's clean it all out. There's still be loads stuck onto the ribs, so just make sure you wash it all out with your hands. Just give it a good wash, and after it's clean, once it's cleaned, get your pressure cooker, put all the ribs and the pork bone into the pressure cooker. The pork bone we're gonna throw away later. We're gonna keep the spare ribs because you can eat that. So here's the plate that we chopped up earlier. We're gonna add in 3 slices of ginger. This will help kill the pork smell. Half an onion that I left behind. 4 large carrots. I find when I cook with carrots, it's give it a sweet vegetable taste. It's not just all meat. I'm going to add in some tomatoes. I say about 2 tomatoes, 2 small tomatoes. So I add in about 4 pieces of large tomatoes here. So it's about 2 small tomatoes. My tomato was really big. So add in a whole kettle of boiling water. Make sure you cover the food, the veg or the meat that you got in there. Cook it for 20 minutes on medium to high heat. So we're going to put that aside now. We're going to get a big pot ready. Pour in your plum tomato. You can cut the tomato in half before you pour it into the pot. I'm adding 3,000 ml of boiling water. If you're cooking for 4 people, you can just add 2,000 ml and the broth will still taste really nice. I was aiming to cook for 4, but then I think I add too much water. So I'm cooking for 6 now. It's okay, my kids will eat 2 bowls each anyway. So 3,000 ml for 6 people. So I'm gonna caramelize the onion. I put 2 tablespoons of olive oil into the pan. Wait until it's really hot. Add in half of the onion that you got left and your shallots. I add my onion first for a good few minutes, then I add my shallots because the shallots are a lot smaller. Cook for about 3 minutes and the onion should be half cooked. So I'm going to add in 5 minced garlic. Cook for a good 1 minute on high heat. We're going to add in some tomatoes. Well, all the rest of the tomatoes. I say another 4 small tomatoes. Cook that until the tomatoes brown. we're going to add in the hạt dieu, sorry. This is the crushed one that you can buy. It's a lot easier than doing it yourself. It's all crushed up. You just put a teaspoon, I put a full teaspoon of hạt dieu in there to give you the orange colour. You can buy this from Vietnamese supermarket. Put this over to a plate and leave it to cool down. Take your crab meat out from the fridge that you marinated earlier. This is your crab white meat. Place that into the pot. It had to be on high heat so the meat doesn't break up when you put it in. So place it all in there using a teaspoon just to roll into little dumplings. Add your 10 grams of rock sugar, leave that to cook, and your pressure cooker should be done now. It's 20 minutes. So pour in everything you got from the pressure cooker. Now we're going to take out all the bones. We don't need that because it takes too much space in there. Take all the bones, the pork bones and the carrots and the onion. We're going to throw that away. The half of onion that we put in there, take that out. And your ginger, take that all out. Everything that you put into the pressure cooker, take it out. Just leave your spare ribs in there. We're going to add in your shrimp paste. Let's get a sieve and sieve out all the shrimps. And just give it a good press so all the flavour come out. If you like shrimp paste, then just add 2 teaspoons instead of 1. We're going to put this on low heat now to cook. We're waiting for the meatball to be cooked. The meatball should be cooked in about 10 minutes. So I've got a hot pan of oil here for the fish cake. Make sure the oil is really hot before you put the fish cake in. I rolled it up into a ball and then I flattened it. Placed it into the oil. Cook for about 11 minutes on high heat. So you can make it into a ball shape, but I find making it flat will cook more evenly and more quicker instead of like a round ball. So I got lazy and I started using a teaspoon and just throwing it in with a teaspoon. It can be any shape, it doesn't have to be perfect. So I cooked it for like 11 to 12 minutes until the skin's brown. When it floats, it's cooked. But I like the skin to be more brown, so I leave it there for another 2 minutes. You can tell your meatball is floating. I mean, everything's cooked when it's floating. So here I've got 2 vermicelli. So we're going to chuck in 1.5 pack for 6 people. If you're cooking for 4 people, 1 pack's enough. I've got 2 kettle boiling water there, enough to boil 1.5 pack. So leave that to cook on boil for 10 minutes. And then we're going to rinse it underneath cold water. Cold water will help the noodles stop the cooking process and will stay nice and chewy. Give it a good nice and even rinse underneath cold water and leave it to dry. So we're going to do the crab brown now. For the crab brown, your broth have to be very hot. So give it on high heat to make sure the broth's really hot. Then pour in your crab brown. Make sure you pour it on top of the soup. And then leave it there to cook for a good 5 to 10 minutes. Don't touch it. If you touch it, it's going to break. It's going to go into little pieces. Just leave it to cook for a good 10 minutes on high heat until all the crab brown sticks together on top. So we're going to leave it to cook there. Once the crab brown is cooked, then we can add in our tofu and tomatoes and onion. If you add this way too soon, the crab brown is going to break. So wait until all your crab brown is stuck together and floating. Then add in your tomato. You see why I'm adding on the side so that it doesn't break up my crab brown. So add in whatever you got left from the tin, the shrimp paste. I've got the crab paste here. So you can just add that in. You can use crab or shrimp paste, doesn't make a difference. It's all for the bún rieu, so it doesn't make a difference. So we're going to marinate the broth now. Add 1.5 teaspoon of chicken powder, a full 1.5 teaspoon of chicken powder, okay? Chuck that in. 1.5 teaspoon of salt, quite full teaspoon of salt, 1.5. I got a big pot, so I had to add a little bit more salt on afterwards, off camera. Half a teaspoon of MSG. We're not making it even with salt this time because we've got rock sugar in there, so you don't need to add too much MSG. So add half a teaspoon of MSG. The rock sugar give you a mild taste. So we've got our fish cake here ready. You can add half of your fish cake into the broth and save the other half for later. People can add it themselves, or you don't have to add it into the broth. You just leave it on the side and people add it as and when they're eating. There's our fish cake. You can just leave it in a basket and then people will just add it. to cook on high heat until all the season and everything marinate together. High heat for 5 minutes. You can serve now. Just get a handful of noodle, place into a bowl. You see your crab brown? It's all stuck together. I normally give about 2 tofu per person. Hence, I put 9 tofu in there. I give 2 crab balls and 2 to 3 fish cakes, some tomato, just to give it a bit of colour. I'll give about 2 pieces of spare ribs, so you got a bit of meat. And I like to eat it with loads of noodle soup, loads of soup. If I went too fast for you in the video itself, you can just look through the instruction below. I set it out from stage by stage, so it makes it easier to follow. If you click below the video, everything will come up. Because people keep asking me, oh, why don't you write the ingredients? I have written all the ingredients below the video. You have to scroll. For garnishing, I'm using bean sprout, leek, spring onion, red onion, and coriander, mint leaves. This is what I can get hold of near my house. Normally, you have to eat it with banana leaf and ramon. I live really far from the Chinese supermarket, so it's very inconvenient for me to get hold of them. But it would be nice if I had ramon and banana leaf. So here we've got tofu, some crab balls, tomato, spare ribs, a fish cake. This is a crab paste. With bún riêu, you have to have your crab paste. See the fish cake, you can leave it on the side and people can add it themselves as and when they want to eat. I've got giallo here. You don't need giallo. I just have it spare in the house, so I add it in for the kids. My bún riêu is like made up bún riêu. I made it up myself. Dry shallots. It's very nice in the bún riêu. You can add fish sauce. So here I have the shrimp paste. I got a little bowl here that I'm add a few spoons of shrimp paste, some fresh chilies, some fresh lime, some fish sauce. I cut some fresh chili and add it into the fish sauce. Just in case the broth is too bland and someone else in the family like to eat more salty, they can add in the fish sauce. If your broth is still not to your taste, just add another half of teaspoon of salt and some fish sauce into the broth. The rock sugar will make your broth really mild. It gives you a really mild taste. I find cooking with rock sugar is a lot nicer than cooking with just MSG. You know, if I didn't use rock sugar, I would have need to add 1.5 teaspoons of MSG and some sugar. But because I got my rock sugar, I only needed half a teaspoon of MSG because the broth is very nice and sweet already from the carrots and the rock sugar itself. People don't normally add carrots in bún riêu, but personally I like to add carrots to give you that natural sweetness in the broth. Instead of just adding loads of sugar or MSG, I add 4 large carrots that will bring out the broth more, give you a mild taste, a nice sweetness. If you want to make your bún riêu less complicated, you can just use the crab ball and the crab brown. That's enough for a bowl of bún riêu. That's quite authentic itself already. Normally people eat this with pig's blood and pig's feet, but my kids won't eat any of that, so there's no point adding that in. It just goes straight in the bin anyway. So I just made it so that it's easy for my kids to eat. Okay, I'm gonna try and give this a taste now. If it's not to your taste, you can just add a bit more mắm tôm or fish sauce. So here's my crab brown. I just want to say thank you for watching, and I hope I made it easy for you to understand. You can skip out the fish cake if you don't want fish cake in there. That's what I'm trying to say. So you can just make it with the meatballs, the crab balls, and the crab brown. That's quite authentic enough. And you can add pork chotters if you like. If your family likes that stuff, then you can add that in. And that's your bún riêu all done. Thank you for watching. I have loads of ways of making bún riêu. I will post it all up as and when I have time. Thank you again for watching.